Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. We are going to be doing another Football Manager 23 experiment today where we're looking at different scenarios and situations that could occur and seeing how they kind of would play out. And it's so far we've done a couple of these already. I'll put the link to the videos in the cards up the top there. They've gone really well. They've been really interesting. They've had a lot of good feedback as well, which obviously is brilliant for me. I'm really pleased with how they've gone so far. So in today's video then, we have got a little bit of a battle royale, I suppose you could call it, of top managers. I have picked 4 of the, probably we'd say the best managers in the game at the moment. And I have locked them into the Vanarama National League. The main reason I wanted to do this is we all know Guardiola's good, we all know Klopp's good. But that's partly because they've managed good teams their whole careers. I'd love to see how they get on when they're managing slightly lower league teams, and actually if they've got the skills to get those teams up the leagues and stay in the job more than anything. You never know, with very limited budgets. What I've done as well is I've picked 4 managers, and they're all at teams with pretty much bang on the same reputations, exactly the same finances, and exactly the same wage budgets, etc., like that kind of thing. So it should not matter how good the team is at the start. It's how they manage those teams, how they get on, and yeah, let's see how they get on with this one. Before we do, obviously I'm going to throw in there that if you are enjoying this, then please hit that like button. The last video did really well with the likes. I'd love to go, say, 25 likes. 25 likes is a good target, I think. Also, if you enjoyed it and you want to see more of this kind of stuff, then please subscribe to the channel as I try and push myself up to 200 subscribers. And also, I'd love to see in your comments as well, be honest with this one. Let's put some predictions in there. I've got 4 managers. Stick who you predict is going to last the longest in their job, or who's going to take the team up the highest. I'd love to see your predictions. And without any further ado then, let's see what managers we've got going. So first up, we have the Spanish wonder man himself. We have Pep Guardiola. He has left Man City. It was all getting a bit too easy for him, I think, in the end. He is now manager of Barnet. Yeah, there's not a lot really else you can say about that. I'm expecting him to do pretty well. He is a talented manager. It's whether or not Barnet can play the kind of football that he's used to playing. Let's see how he gets on with that one. After that, then we have Jurgen Klopp. He's left Liverpool. He is now the manager of Aldershot. Again, a club that, whether or not they can adapt to how he likes to play, he's famous for that kind of gegenpressing, high press football, which worked so well at Borussia Dortmund and then at Liverpool as well. Dropped off a little bit this season, but let's see how Aldershot can handle him. Third manager on the list then is Thomas Tuchel. He's at Chelsea, obviously, but he's out of his job at the moment. So York have taken him up. Probably less of a successful, more of an up-and-coming manager. He has got a great kind of footballing philosophy. Didn't work out at Chelsea in the season where he got the sack. But he's been at PSG, he's been at Dortmund, he knows his stuff. Let's see if York can push on. And last but not least, we have Maurizio Pochettino. Bromley have taken him on board. He's taken a bit of a pay cut. He's on £500 a week. Locked in till 2042, as all of these managers are. Let's see how he gets on at Bromley after a less than impressive performance at PSG. Maybe their lower expectations are going to help him out here. So then, a quick look then. Let's see where their the season preview puts these teams at then. So we have got, who have we got? We've got Barnet then in 14th spot. That is Guardiola's team. Who else have we got? Bromley up there at 8th. That's a pretty good one for them. York are a newly promoted team, so potentially going to struggle a little bit more, but expectations will be a lot lower. And then the last but not least, we've got Aldershot, who are just there in 15th spot. So none of the teams are expected to be kind of pushing for promotion. So maybe not in this first season. And then you've got a team like Wrexham as well, who are by and far the favourites for promotion this season. But it would just be interesting to see who keeps their jobs, how they get on, what kind of players they can attract, and whether or not they can spend any kind of money. But yeah, let's see Let's see how they get on this first season. So we are one season into this save. It is now the 11th of June 2023. And it'll be interesting to see, first of all, if all 4 managers are still in the job. I have a sneaking suspicion that they won't be. We will have to see. But yeah, it'd be really interesting to see where they finish, how they got on. And let's see if any of them have worked their magic and proven that they are top managers. So then, we have had a little bit of a turn up for the books. We've got Bromley in 3rd spot, so that's Pochettino's gang. Barnet have managed to get promoted. Guardiola has done his thing. He's got them promoted through the playoffs. Incredible performance looking at their pre-season expectations. York have managed to stay up quite handsomely as well. That was Tuchel's team. And then we've got Aldershot finishing in 7th as well. So they've all kind of pretty much gone either at expectation or over expectations. So absolutely brilliant performances there from all managers. Maybe not quite enough to keep some of them in the job. You never know. You never know how it's happened. But let's have a look at the managers now and see exactly where they are. So Bromley first up, finished 3rd in the table. Pochettino is still there, so we have at least one. So at least that means the video is going to go on for a little bit longer. Didn't manage to get promoted. Let's see how they got on in the playoffs. So they lost out to Barnet, one of the other teams in this. So Guardiola's team, they lost out to Barnet in the playoff semi-final. So that must have been a fantastic match, losing 2-1. But overall, a pretty good season compared to what they were expecting. And then we look at Guardiola. Guardiola is still at Barnet, so we have 2 out of 2 so far managers still in their spots. He's managed to get them promoted. What a performance that was. He has done incredibly well. I mean, I'm a big fan of Guardiola anyway. He is a fantastic manager. However, he's worked absolute wonders. They are going to be playing League 2 football next season, and it'll be really interesting to see how he gets on as he goes with that. In terms of transfers, he spent 120 grand, but actually sold 150 grand's worth of player, although that was one player then, Mason Clark, selling to Peterborough. All the others were frees. He brought Idris Kanu from Peterborough as well, so they bit of business done there between the 2 clubs, and then a couple of much lower feed players, but mostly kind of buying from League One or loaning from League One and Championship teams. A lot of free transfers. He had a complete turnaround of the squad there by the looks of things, but it's worked for him. He's done really well, and he's managed to get them promoted. Next up then, Jurgen Klopp is still in the job as well. He managed to push Aldershot Town up to 7th spot in the Vanarama National League. Again, a really good performance, just outside the playoffs. So didn't quite get them any further than that. However, that is a really good performance from them, and something to build on for next season. I think it'll be interesting to see how they get on if they keep Klopp in his place. Expectations may have risen a bit now, but it'll be interesting to see how long he stays in the job if he kind of slows up and doesn't get himself promoted in the next couple of years. And we look at York City. They managed to finish 16th. However, Mark Yates is now in charge of the club. It looks like Tuchel did not survive the season. So that's our first casualty. Perhaps unsurprisingly, I mean, it was a bit unfair, I suppose, that we stuck him in with a newly promoted team, but they managed to survive. But it'll be interesting to see. I'm going to have a quick look now and see when he was sacked, where they were at that point, and maybe that would be the reason. Maybe he was struggling. Yates came in and steadied the ship. So Tuchel only lasted till the 1st of October 22. So I'm guessing at that point they were not doing particularly well. In fact, yeah, they didn't get a single league win in that time. So he really did struggle. He won 2 games, drew 4, lost 6, although those 2 games were cup games. So yeah, not a great performance for Tuchel there. He's our first casualty, perhaps unsurprisingly. We are down to 3 out of 4 left. But let's see how many are left after another 2 seasons, and let's see if Guardiola's managed to keep his team in League 2. So we are on to season number 3 then. We are in 2025. I have absolutely no idea where this one's going to go. I must admit, I would like to think that at least one of them is still in his job. Guardiola will obviously going to have a tough season, the last season, just to keep his team in League 2. But you never know. He may have worked his wonders we will have to see. Let's have a look at him first. Let's have a look and see how he got on in that first season in League Two. So first things first, Barnet are still a League Two team. He is still in charge. So I'm assuming he's achieved what he's been set out to achieve. Looking at their history, they finished 16th the season before last, so outside of the relegation zone, probably quite comfortably, but we'll have a look in a minute. And he's finished 13th this season, so progress has been made. As I said, 13th this season, 60 points, well away from the relegation zone. I must admit, 18 points away from it there. Pretty impressive stuff, I must admit. And if we have a quick look at last season, he finished 16th, again, handsomely, 9 points away from the relegation zone. He is doing a pretty good job, I must admit. I wonder if he can keep pushing on, because he's tied in now till 2042 or whatever, whether or not he can push on and maybe push them even up to League One. So, Bromley, still Pochettino in charge, so we still have 2 out of 2 so far, 3 years into this save, and by the looks of things, they've had a pretty good season. They have finished champions of the Valorama National League. Another great performance from a very good manager. See, they are pretty handy. They can do their thing. So as we saw, they have finished champions. The season before that, they finished second. Again, just off the top spot. So they've had a pretty darn good go at it. 3 seasons, all in those kind of playoff places. Finally, they managed to get themselves promoted, and we'll see how he gets on in League Two next season against old Guardiola. Jurgen Klopp is still in charge of Aldershot Town as well, which is great news to see, because I love to see the fact that they're all doing okay. They've stagnated a bit, I must admit. They finished 10th last season after a 7th place finish in the season before that, which we saw before. They've dropped down to 13th, so yeah, they're kind of a pretty standard mid-table team. Klopp not really doing anything that is kind of tearing up any trees, which is a real shame, but you never know. He just the right kind of players, he just needs to get those in, and he may well push them forwards and catch up with Guardiola and Pochettino, who are going to be in the league above next season. Let's move forward another 2 seasons then. Let's see if we've got any of our managers still in place, but also let's see if it's they managed to get themselves promoted. Let's see if Pochettino's managed to keep his team in there and Guardiola's keep making that progression. So then we are 5 seasons into this save. It is 7th of June 27. Let's get straight into it. Let's see how they've got on and if all those managers are still in place. We have another casualty. Barnet, League 2, but Guardiola is no longer there. Imagine that. He's got them up to League 2 and they've sacked him. I feel kind of a bit robbed, actually, I must admit. But let's see when he went and what exactly happened. So he managed to last 3 months into the next season after we'd stopped that save. And yeah, they sacked him. Not great. Let's have a look and see where they were at that point. So I'm looking at these fixtures then. He was sacked on the 7th of October. They just lost to Leyton Orient in that time. And they'd had a bit of a ropey kind of couple of months, I must admit. They started off the season fairly well. A loss in the first game, then 2 wins, a loss, and then a number of losses. Yeah, four losses in a row there. Couple of wins, but it wasn't enough to save Guardiola and his job. And actually, in fact, they did all right for the rest of the season. If we have a look then at last season's table, they actually managed to get up to 10th spot. So the new manager came in, pushed them on, and it was probably the right move at the end of the day. It looked like Guardiola maybe was just trying something new or something gone wrong, and he'd lost the dressing room. But they managed to stabilise that, and then they've had a couple of decent seasons in the league, finished in 17th in the second season. So unfortunately, Guardiola is another casualty of this one. We have 2 managers left in this. We do, however, have Poch. He is still in place. And more importantly, Bromley are still in League 2. And looking at this, finished 6th in League 2 this season. So what a performance he's having with this team. So yes, as we can see, they finished 6th in the playoffs. Unfortunately, couldn't get promoted. Southend ended up getting promoted in that one. And the season before that, where did they finish? Their first season in League Two, they finished 13th, so comfortably mid-table. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Poch has proven all of his worth, and he is still in this race. Let's move to Aldershot then, and we have our third casualty. Unfortunately, Klopp has gone. They was pretty stagnant in that Vanarama National League, and it looks like they finally kicked him out. In fact, he didn't last much longer after we finished that save. They only gave him until the end of September, so it must have been an absolute nightmare start for him in that league. So let's have a quick look and see where they were. Yeah, one league win before he was sacked. Pretty awful there. Lots of losses, a few draws maybe. But yeah, they must have been fairly near the bottom, and it all fell apart, unfortunately. And naturally, if you look at it now, this season as well, they were relegated. So it looks like they've stagnated. They've been kind of around that mid-table, and then they just plummeted. And unfortunately, Klopp lost his job because of it. So we have one manager left in this, which is Pochettino. We're now going to move forwards another 5 years. We're going to bump forwards a little bit. Let's speed this one up, and we're going to go see, after 10 years, how he's getting on, if he's still in the job, and see if he's managed to push them any further up, and see if Bromley can maybe push into League One. Well, the first news is he's no longer there. All 4 managers have now been sacked. Pochettino could not last through 10 seasons. They are still in League Two, so that's pretty good. He's obviously pushed them up, and they've done pretty well to get up there. They're not a huge club, obviously, Bromley, but he did his job, I think. And let's see exactly when he was given the old Evo. So he managed to last till sacking season, by the looks of things, which is in October. So 23rd of October, 2027. He finally got given the elbow, and they got rid of him, which is a real shame because he's the only one who's actually won anything for this club. And look at the amount of managers they've gone through since then. It's just been an absolute cluster. So he was sacked after, I'm assuming, after the Wickham game here, where he lost 1-0. But yeah, you can see a pretty ropey start to the season. Couple of losses, couple of draws, couple of September looked all right, couple of wins. But then it was all draws, losses. But then, in all honesty, the new manager came in and didn't really turn it around. So they just sound like they were a little bit out of their depth in that one. Let's see how they got on in that season and in the couple of seasons after that. So at the end of all that, it was a comfortable season, actually. They finished 12th in the league. The new manager obviously came out, turned it around again. The old new manager buzz, which is always good, but it's unfortunate for Poch. He couldn't turn it around himself. Apart from that, they've pretty much remained a mid to lower half of the table team. They finished 17th season after 21st, kind of really struggling with against relegation in that one. Turned it around a little bit, got to 17th in the next season, and then they've just finished the latest season in 15th. So they're a pretty kind of okay-ish League Two team. But yeah, so Poch was our last man standing. He won the Battle Royale. He managed to last, 6 seasons. Didn't do too badly, I suppose. The other managers, Guardiola did okay. Klopp pretty much didn't really do anything, and Tuchel just fell apart. So I don't really know what that experiment, whether it really proved anything, whether there was anything to get out of it. Yes, it's a lot easier when you got a lot of money, I suppose, and a lot of good players. But some of them proved that they are actually pretty good managers. That they managed to keep these teams in leagues well above what they probably should really be performing in. No disrespect to any fans of those teams. But yeah, a couple of them did okay. A couple of them were pretty mediocre, and one of them was pretty rubbish. But that's what it is. Luck of the draw. I could do that save again, and you never know, it might be completely different. But I thought it was really interesting, actually, to see exactly how these teams get on, how these managers get on when you take the money away from them. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got out of it everything I did as well. And please, as I said, if you enjoyed it, please subscribe, hit the like button, stick some comments in there. I'd love to, as I said, hopefully your predictions were correct at the start of the video. But also, if you've got any ideas of other kind of experiments you'd love to see, videos you'd love to see, I'd love to hear from you. I like engaging with everybody. I think it's a really good way of growing this channel. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.